the one thing that has shifted in this genocide in terms of lifting the lid on information and disinformation has been the use of social media channels with all the issues that we faced. And it's one of our most prominent activists on social media. I'm so pleased to welcome our brother Muaz, known on Instagram as Hamz. Welcome, Jazakallah khair. I know you've had a busy schedule, you've had other events that you're busy with, but it's so good to see that beautiful smile on our face, and welcome to the stream, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Khalid. I really appreciate the intro. And first of all, I actually want to thank Social Intifada for hosting this, and thank you to the rest of the panel for your amazing insights and efforts to fight for our cause. I just want to focus here, or like it or not, this movement has become a massive movement of our youth. And this is not discounting from all of us older folk of the movement that I think are doing a great job. But the social media movement, from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to even international platforms like RedNote, are the source of where we are today, which is a world that's not just on the side of Palestine, but on the side of the Palestinian resistance. And that is not a phrase that I've ever in my entire life been able to think I could ever say, which is truly why I believe for the first time in my lifetime, we will see a free Palestine in our lifetime, inshallah. Even with all of the censorship, the shadow banning, the account suspensions, our movement is so large and so global that it's literally impossible to silence us unless they remove all the social media platforms from existence, which is what you guys have seen with TikTok. But our youth and our movement found other options to keep our movement loud and strong. The social media movement, in my opinion, is the most important movement, because with the obvious lies and false narratives being spouted by Western media and the active silencing of our journalists on the ground in Gaza, either through targeting and killing of our journalists or cutting off their electricity and their networks, social media has become the main source of news internationally. And as Yumna mentioned, Gaza journalists risk their lives every single day, not just to send their footage to Al Jazeera or even the Western media. Is to send it directly to us, the people that know the truth and can share the truth with the entire world without any bias. We have become louder than the Western media at this point, which is a battle that we have won. But this is not just a battle, it's a war of truth. And we must continue to fight harder than ever. It's important that we do not get complacent. We do not sit back. We must keep fighting harder than we've ever fought. And Palestine has opened everyone's eyes in this regard. Palestine has exposed this on such a massive scale where the world now sees the interconnectedness of everything, which stems from Zionism, colonialism, capitalism, dehumanization, and Western lies and propaganda. My platform, which only started as a measly 2,000 followers just last year, has amassed close to 115,000 followers. And that is with my account being actively targeted by Meta, and Meta ghost unfollowing over 700 accounts from my account per week without the user's knowledge. Even with all of this working against us, our platforms are continuously growing because the world wants to hear pure, unfiltered, unadulterated, raw, honest truth. And that is why my platform that's what my platform is being used for. And I'm completely unapologetic about the plight of my people, of the Palestinian, and the passion and my passion for the end goal, which is total freedom and liberation and one true state called Palestine. So with regard to social or the social media sourcing of information, I want to, and what to share on social media, I want to run through a few vital points here for you guys. It's always important to use reputable sources. This especially means that our journalists from the ground in Gaza. It's important not to post anything that is not properly vetted, or else we become just like them. We become the liars and propagandists that they are. So always stick to facts. It's also important to continuously expose who they are, not just through their barbaric violence, but their perverted, sick nature, and to ensure that the people know that it's the majority of their society that are like this. It's not just a few bad apples or just Netanyahu or just his government. It is truly the majority of their society that is approving of what is happening in Gaza. It is also important to note that words matter, such as calling what we are seeing not just a genocide at this point. It's a Holocaust. It's not Palestinian prisoners, but Palestinian hostages. It's not 40,000 killed in Gaza. It's closer to 350,000 plus. So it's also critical to understand that Palestinian voices are the most important voices and must be amplified the most in every single case. But that does not mean shunning non-Palestinians out, because we need them if we want to see complete and total liberation. we must amplify people of all walks of life, because it's not just about the occupation of Palestine, but it's also about the occupation of our collective minds globally and the oppression of people all around the world. So do not ostracize anyone. We must unite across the entire world. And lastly, we must be completely unapologetic at this point. We cannot hide. We cannot be silent. This is the breath of fresh air that the world is yearning for, and because the world has had enough of their lies, in a sense.
Jazakallah khair. So I think you've covered a few important points. What we would like to do is to get our viewers to encourage more of what you've been doing. And I think the fact that you've just mentioned you started off with a small account of 2,000, and now you are an account that is actively being watched by Meta. There's a reason they're watching you. You're speaking the truth. What strikes me from your content, and I'm sure the viewers would agree, is the fact that you combine originality from an authentic source. So you've given it your stamp. We know it's your content when we see it, and your content gets shared widely. People download it, they share it on WhatsApp, it goes on to TikTok, it's all over. What type of encouragement would you give potential social media users, content creators who might be a little hesitant to be able to get started, or they've got small accounts, they're not sure how to get started? What should they do? What kind of advice would you give them to just get off the ground?
That's a great question, Khaled. So that's something I'm actually actively trying to push even a little bit more now. I actually put up a post recently where there's this young man that made an incredible reel that is very, very creative. It's incredibly important to differentiate your content now at this point, because we all know that the terrorist non-state of Israel is essentially putting out so much, like, a world of hurt on our people, that there's so much content being thrown at us at every single second of the day that there's a content fatigue. You're noticing even reputable news sources not getting as much viewership as they should, because it's like just a lot of news being thrown at you all at once. It's important for us to take that news and extrapolate it and use it like to our benefit in a creative means. It's truly important. This is why I say that it's a youth movement, because the youth, it's hyper important for the youth to jump in here from a creative standpoint. And I don't want to only select the youth only. This can be applied to anybody of any age, but it's important to use that news and think of ways to really pull it through in a creative way that can really attract and catch the eye of the people. So on my end, I tend to I do have a creative side to me. So I actually try to use my art, my poetry, and just spoken word and video editing. Like, I taught myself how to video edit truly on my phone. Everything you see that I post has been strictly from my phone, from apps such as CapCut, which just recently actually got banned as well in the US. But I taught myself that during the COVID days of the lockdown, and I was able to use that knowledge to really pull through a lot of creative things that I can do from a video standpoint. So it's truly important now, as a result of all of the news that we get every single second. It's kind of nauseating how much news comes at us every single second, that we need to catch everyone's attention more and more, because there's a pattern and habit whenever the word ceasefire comes up, which is a complete BS word to me. I hate when people say it. I cannot stand it, and truly, I do not say that to me ever, unless you want to get on my bad side, because we all know the pattern and what has happened in the past. They say ceasefire; it's never truly a ceasefire. They continue to, attack without any repercussion, complete impunity, and that's all it is. It's like it comes to us as news, and that's it. And people, eat it up and just move on. And that's something that we cannot let happen. We cannot let it become a pattern. Again, this is the movement now that I said, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And in order for us to open up that light or get closer to that light at the end of the tunnel, we need to be louder than ever, like truly. And that means, kind of thinking of new ways to keep people engaged in the social media space.
I think that answers the question. I just want to pop Lizzie Max's point here. She agrees. She's in his mid-60s. Her account is Dignity for Palestine, and you've taught her a lot. Taught her a lot. There's similar comments coming in, which we'll post in a bit. In your last few seconds, perhaps just one last question from one of our viewers. She'd like to know how to work around Meta's shadow ban because the extent of it is staggering. Any tips for her?
Yeah, so I personally, I've been doing everything in my power to, because I work in marketing and advertising, and I do understand the social space a little bit. And there are obviously trigger words and trigger things that Meta tends to latch onto. So obviously we are all aware of the, symbol way of writing things in our captions, which is so absurd that we have to do it. But I would say continue to do that because they can't catch on to the words when we kind of like make the word look like the actual word as symbols. But couple things that I've actually noticed on my end that I used as an experiment for myself and has been working really well on my end is if you're familiar with my content, if I ever do a post that's in words, that's like I take the full extent of the window of a post to put as many words as possible from wall to wall on the news that I am trying to put out there. I vary the font sizes in a sense so that you'll see very small lines, large lines, small lines, large lines, all from wall to wall with different varying colors stacked in a way where people probably go cross-eyed trying to read my content, but it's truly a means for the algorithm not to pick up on the words. So I actually don't even have to include symbols sometimes in the actual post. And it's directly the words in the post. And because of that, I'm noticing that the algorithm doesn't pick up on the words and doesn't trigger it. And I say some really hard hitting stuff in there that is not just the news, but also my personal like direct opinion. And it's unfiltered, completely unfiltered. And it's been, doing really well from like a news sharing perspective. And then from a video perspective, it's there's this window of 15 seconds that like when people share the stories, that's typically where we get the trigger from the social media is if within the first 15 seconds, they see anything from violence or derogatory language or things that talk about Zionism and all of that in the first 15 seconds that are the trigger words, then they immediately either remove it or they suppress it. So I take the time to have a countdown, if you've seen those videos of mine, of 15 seconds where it's either my face or certain words that I know will clear the algorithm. And then once the 15-second mark hits, it gives you direct, raw video footage of the graphic violence or the, unfiltered, news coming out of Gaza on the ground. So those are certain things that I've personally found to work, and people are on the other users and accounts have actually started to employ this on their end, and they're seeing a difference as well. So those are a couple of things that I've noticed.
So we've managed to extract, mashallah, some good tips from one of our leading accounts in the Voice for Justice for Palestine, and I think for our viewers, brothers and sisters that are logged on, there's a lot of comments coming through. We can't take them all. We have come to an end, but I think there's a lot of value in what Mo has said in the last 10 or 12 minutes. We would be replaying this back. You're welcome to stop, play, take notes, because there's a lot of valuable information that you've got. At the end of the day, we'd like to encourage as many social media users as possible. 3 things I picked up from Mo that I just want to amplify. Use your creative side, use your words. Your words are important, and learn the way the systems work. And Mo's your example. Mo, Jazakallah khair. We know you've got another event to attend to. It's been fabulous having you. We appreciate your time. You are appreciated. On behalf of everybody at Social Intifada, Palestine Information Network, and our viewers, Jazakallah khair, and keep up the excellent work.
Thank you, Khalid. I appreciate you so much.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.